The screen is glitching. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. Oh, good morning still. Good midday.
Good midday on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022.
Oh, no, it's the 23rd, isn't it?
No, it's the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. All spiritual.
It's a portal opening today, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm supposed to go at 2 p.m. to sit on a mountain, bang my drum with two ladies, even though I have a shitload of work to do. But yeah, such is the life of a light worker and grid worker, I guess.
New call screen is now active. The previous version is still available. Oh, okay. So, just double check.
Zoning.
Sure. Well, I mean, Table Mountain is one of the portals.
No, we're going just behind Nerdhook, not quite Table Mountain.
Well, I mean, Cape Town's got the frequency. I mean, we were talking about this last week or the week before. One of the episodes where you mentioned that the frequency in Cape Town is higher, obviously, than Johannesburg. You know, this swamp. The swamp. I call it the swamp.
Yeah.
But that's because Table Mountain is one of the portals.
Yeah.
On planet Earth.
Is it still? I mean, do the chakras change, or is it still the solar plexus? Or
no, it's still the same.
Is it the solar plexus?
Yeah, South Africa is the solar. If you look at the world map, each energy portal is associated with a country.
Yeah.
And South Africa is the solar plexus.
Okay.
Yeah. And the portal is Table Mountain.
I mean, so that would be from a collective viewpoint.
Yes.
South Africa needing to focus on the solar plexus, and we are, I guess, as a country, more than most, not the only one though, but that is quite embedded in fear. Well,
South Africa, and including the rest of Africa, because South Africa holds the fear for
Africa.
For Africa. So you could call it a processing plant.
Yeah.
South Africa is the processing plant of fear. Until a higher vibration is basically instituted in Africa. But I mean, I think people in general will notice that the frequency in Cape Town, and especially those light workers or those that are operating at a certain vibration, I definitely felt it. I mean, I've lived in Cape Town on 7 different occasions in my life. But this last time that I moved to Cape Town was specifically, to start working on my energy system. And I could definitely, the frequency there is far higher than anywhere else in South Africa. There's no doubt about it. And I think people feel that because you see now people in Johannesburg, whether it's individuals, professionals, organizations, investment companies are all moving to Cape Town.
Yeah, I know, but there's no space left. There's no housing for them, But yeah, there's a lot of people that are quite man down with this portal. A lot of star seeds and sensitives.
It's very.
Sure. I'm feeling some energy coming in here.
That's why I say I had to actually.
Io ja sia talar la kiana ishio sioto to. Yeah, last week's ceremony was So my client came from Argentina, and eventually she was supposed to come in October. So she eventually made it. So I'm very, really proud of her for trekking halfway across the world, which I'm very grateful for. Because they often want me to travel. And the thing is that I say, you know, I know the frequency here. I know the land. I don't know. I haven't worked in many other places, but I'm familiar with this space energetically, I guess. But I went.
No, but it's also a wonderful opportunity for them to come see the country. So
Sure, and it's cheap as nuts, guys. So
yeah.
anyone that's wanting to come to South Africa.
Well, Argentina, no. I think
she works for an international company, and
okay.
she's a travel fundi, you know, Miami and Dubai and all of these things. So, but yeah, I went into. I don't know, I gained access to something that I actually wanted to ask you. Like, I gained access to something that I have no fucking clue what it was. And I wasn't, it was quite a death process to get there. I wasn't surrendering, but I was also holding space. So it's a bit of a difficult situation. And then eventually I moved into surrender, and I don't know, there were these two beings standing there with like these spears, like facing in, you know, and I think
okay, I know where it is.
Yeah, and I think there were two dragons next to them, and then I just went in, and then I was in like the words that I described as like a capsule or a vault, some sort of like records station.
Okay, I know where it is.
But I wasn't in there for long. As I got in and comfortable to just surrender and breathe and be there, I needed to assist my clients. So I needed to hop out. But it was very interesting because I shared that with my dearest friend Tallulah, and she said that's so interesting because when she went into dream space, she consciously goes, in, and she said she went into the exact same space that she would describe as this vault. Like a capsule. It's like a capsule. I don't know. It was very interesting. What was it? Or where was it? I don't even know how to ask the question.
Okay, just give me a moment.
Okay.
I think I've got an idea that you were standing at the gates of the halls of Amenti.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Because the halls of Amenti it's the Universal Library.
Okay.
If I can put it that way.
Is that the same as the Akashic Records?
No, they're completely different.
Okay.
So the Akashic Records is a history of souls.
Yeah.
And their history of their lifetimes.
Yes.
The halls of Amenti carry the...
There is some energy here. What is going on?
Well, I've been... okay.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Just breathe. Just breathe. Do you want me to soften the energy a bit?
It's okay. I know it's because I've linked up with you now, and it's probably gonna pop out on the mountain, and also on, what's today? Tuesday, Monday, so Sunday night I also came home quite late. I smoked a little bit of a hash joint, and then my Kundalini just went. But it was so funny because I went, I lay down, and then I just went into Kundalini And then straight after that, I burst into tears. Then I went into like this deep space meditation. And then immediately after that, I was laughing like crazy because I had a friend holding space with me. It all just happened. It wasn't intentional, but he was holding space with me, and it was quite a deep process. And so I leaned over to give him a hug, and we bashed each other's heads so hard. So it was like this, just all of this energy, like, you know, like from like just, yeah, it was quite beautiful and intense, but yeah, it was funny. So I went through all of this in like a half an hour space, or maybe a little bit longer. So yeah, and Tongo's been really, really ill. I think she's got an infection, but I don't know. She doesn't want to go to a Western doctor. So this is also interesting. I don't, you know, and we don't know if it's the portal or if it's an upgrade or if there's an infection. Another one.
There is a bit of an infection there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, I'm picking something up here.
So I said maybe she needs.
She's got to watch her energy.
Yeah, she's been doing a lot of energy work. You know, she held space on Wednesday for that client at the mushroom ceremony. But she was the grounding element for us. Thank God. Thank God. But then she did another ceremony on Friday, and that just wiped her out completely. Not mushrooms, but with San Pedro. So yeah. So what you know, had I stayed longer in the halls of Amenti, like what, it felt like it would just be accessible to observe, like, or I mean, am I simultaneously receiving the frequency of that dimensional space, obviously, as well?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's an upgrade as well. Yeah.
And there is levels within the halls of Amenti.
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I literally just got through the door, and then I had to well, my conscious mind, I guess it's an interesting question. So, you know, if I'm what I describe as being I'm lying down, I'm in this meditative space, and I'm in this dimensional space, I can visualize and see it. And for someone like me who describes herself as someone that doesn't see, I'm in a place I can.
Yeah, well, if you describe, because if you describe, because I was at the halls of Amenti this weekend.
Okay.
I regularly go in there. Not recently, but now that I've started my practice, I do attend.
And the purpose for me would just to become comfortable with the frequency of this space. And for my frequency to begin
also
getting familiar with entering.
Yeah, getting familiar, and then obviously working throughout the different levels. There are a few levels that are unattainable.
Inaccessible.
So yeah, it's basically an expansion of your knowing, and your frequency.
So that was the further question. So other than being in, when my English wording would say, okay, I needed to get out so that I could hold space and be there for my clients, but I'm still in it. It's been, yes, I'm just not perceiving it as that. I'm still in it. My waking reality is now, you know, on earth, so to speak. But it was full moon night as well. So it was a fuck ton of energy. It was wild, but it was beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, we can go into, because that's like 3 episodes of Halls of Amenti. But they basically are guarded by the legions of Anubis.
Yeah.
Those are the guards that you.
Yeah.
Because they check your frequency when you get to the gates.
Okay.
And then you go into this hall. Because you said it's like a library.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are
the word I'd use is records. Like
it's a library.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Well, they're different levels. That's why I say we need at least 3 or 4 episodes to cover that.
Yeah.
But it's the library of the universe, basically.
Okay.
And the masters of the history of the masters of the galaxy are also held there.
Okay.
Of the masters within the different universes are held there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a very important. It's where all the information is kept, basically.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, the selfish part of my consciousness really wanted to spend a little bit more time in there because it was quite a process to get there. You know.
Yeah, well, I spent some time there. This like I say, these last few days. But I went to Sirius.
Okay.
I think it was, I don't know, where are we? Tuesday. It was the last 2 or 3 days or something.
Yes.
But I went through, because normally, if I want to travel somewhere within the galaxy, how would I put this to explain it? It's like you teleport.
Yes.
Okay. Because so the aspects of your light energy.
Yes.
Your light body travel to a destination.
Yes.
So I wanted to go to Sirius because we were talking about Sirius last week.
Yes.
But you can't just arrive. I can't just pitch up there and say, okay, hello. You know, it's like customs.
Yes.
So.
Did you send a note beforehand?
Well,
or do you arrive and then get reviewed?
Yes, you arrive. I'll show you. I'll just tell you how. Look, this might work. This might be different for other people. Please understand that everything that I talk about here is my own experiences. Okay. So I went through Hollow Earth. I thought, okay, let me go through Hollow Earth. I'm going to take a trip through Hollow Earth. Wow. Jesus. So I'm moving through this tunnel of light.
Yes.
Through Hollow Earth. So no, I mean I've traveled, through the galaxies.
Yes.
This was hectic. Okay, so travel through Hollow Earth. Okay, I thought, okay, this is okay. Blah 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 blah. So it's like a portal.
Yes.
Okay, so then I arrive in out in space. You come out at the bus stop, the Sirius bus stop.
Yes.
In space, you just arrive at that point. That's where visitors come.
Okay.
Okay. Then the spaceship arrives. So, okay, I'm allowed to get on. And then there's these other beings, like other beings. But the energy was just, yes, it was hectic. And I was sitting, they strapped me in. And the Syrian says to me, just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Because the energy was so intense. You know, when the body, because your body will feel it.
Yes.
But my light energy is feeling it. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the spaceship. It's not a big one. It's one of these small little ones that they move around in. You know. And all these beings are on this thing, but I'm not paying attention to anyone because I'm
just breathing.
I'm finding it difficult to catch my breath.
Wow.
And I just said, okay, guys, sorry. I'll have to come and visit another time. because it was starting to affect me now physically.
Yes.
Where I couldn't hold the energy. So I came back. I had to come back.
What is your physical body doing in Earth dimension when you are doing these travels? I mean, do you sit in meditation, or are you just lying down in your bed kind of vibe?
It depends. When I do my meditations, I don't. It depends what comes up. So if I'm doing a meditation and I get a calling to be somewhere, then I'll go during my meditations.
Okay.
But otherwise, my spiritual practice is structured in terms of my various chants in Sanskrit or whatever, and then I have various meditations that I do around those chants.
Okay.
But if I, like the Halls of Amenti, I just thought, okay, it was over the weekend, I was in bed. I thought, okay, I want to go sit in the lounge. There's this big hall. You go, you sit there, and it's the first level, basically.
Yes.
And it's like going to the Ritz. Sorry. Okay. It's like going to the Ritz, and you walk into the lobby
yes.
So I was just on the first level, and I just go there just to sit and relax.
Okay.
And then I thought, okay, yes, because we were talking about Sirius. And I thought, okay, let me go through Hollow Earth. So I was just lying down, and then I, do my thing. But my body, you can't breathe. I can't physically. You can feel the energy when your life body is it's
activated.
It's going into it's activated already, but it's like being in like a pressure cooker. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like being in a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And then obviously how it affects me on a physical level is that I can't breathe, and then I get very hot.
Yeah.
Like your temperature just like just spikes up.
Yeah.
The heart. So that was quite interesting. I'll have to get back into it. Go. I'll have to get back, and I'll have to just meditate a bit more and just get my frequency up a bit before I go and visit. But they were lovely. But I just said to him, I'm sorry, because he strapped me and he was sitting in front of me. He said, "Just breathe, just relax. You're going to be fine."
Was it a circle in front?
Yes.
Of you? Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful. Blue light beam.
Yeah, my client said to me, she said, I look like, the movie, The Avatar?
Yes.
Yeah, she said the whole ceremony, I just looked like one of those blue avatar beings. She did really well. I mean, she's super cosmic. It's only her first proper experience with me. She did another one, but it was a bit different, this group. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of her. Very proud of her.
So yeah, you will work with that energy now and just get accustomed to it,
I wanted to ask, my first high dose mushroom, as in higher dose, the objective was to try figure out which star system I just, entered from in this incarnation kind of vibe. And Sirius C came up, but the texts out there just state that Sirius is a binary star system, Sirius A and Sirius B.
Yes.
Found one thing about Sirius C, but very difficult to, you've just got to search. But I just wanted to get your opinion or your teachings on, is there a Sirius C? Does it exist?
Yeah, they're like little islands.
my laptop is about to blow up here in the heat. Let me just turn around.
Oh, is yours also doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you're freezing.
Yeah, you were freezing as well, but I also think it's the frequency today. Yeah.
Please, let's not, our computers must not blow up.
Yeah, please. I mean, the last ceremony, actually, I thought my computer had just bust.
Yes, but haven't you just bought a new one?
Yes, it was the new one, but I had Genevieve come in and sing, and I told you the moment she starts singing, the frequency just rises, and once she'd finished her little set, I just pressed my computer and I just looked at her. I was like, "You've bust my computer." And she's like, "Oh my God." I just said, "It's okay, you know, when I'm in ceremony, I'm in ceremony, I'm in ceremony, you know, it doesn't matter." But like, and then I just did a little prayer, and then I closed it and opened it again, and it was fine. But yeah, sometimes I do worry about like.
Yeah, no, it's because I've also got to get a new one. Are you okay? Are you good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also got to get a new one, but maybe not to get an Apple Mac.
I like my Apple. It's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Let me actually do that.
I'm just saying, for like, you know, when you go into ceremony or for retreats and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it'll become more and more and more organic in its nature. You know, I feel like artists and musicians and people, souls, are really coming into the space of creativity with natural instruments and not needing the electronic stuff. So
yeah.
But you know, with ceremony, especially the way I do it for groups, it's needing that theta frequency to just calm the nervous system down constantly. So yeah, I do need that. But yeah, we're chatting about Sirius C. So Sirius C is Sirius a trinary star system?
Yes.
Amazing.
I do see it. Yeah.
Why is there no information out about it? Guys, this is us.
Because it's not meant.
Disclosing.
It's not meant to be known. Babes, you keep on breaking up. You want to try move again?
I think my computer's just hot.
Is it?
Yeah. Let me move. Yeah.
Do you want to put something underneath it?
There we go.
Just to let it air a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's airing.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's got air now. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. I was also, you know, like I've been doing fucking social media stuff for, well, sitting down and trying to do social media stuff. And I've been like losing it a little bit. Just this morning, yesterday was fine, but it was so interesting. I went onto Facebook to try and see how I could do an ad, right? And you have like an ad set that creates an audience for you. And within that audience, you can create a subset of interests, you know, like, okay, so, you know, people interested in meditation, permaculture, you know, Deepak Chopra,
yoga,
you know, whatever. And I mean, the last time I did this was, you know, 2 years ago or whatever. And I went into my subset and it says there, you know, alert, some of these categories have been taken away by a certain social media giant. And all of the ones, so it was Eckhart Tolle, no longer. Meditation, no longer. Spirituality, no longer. Permaculture, no longer a category. And I was just like, yo, I mean, these guys are really doing a fantastic job of fulfilling their dark contracts. It's just like quite profound. Yeah.
Well, when people are unaware, when people are not given the opportunity to see the truth,
It will become so blatant for them that they can't not.
Look, I mean, it's a process of. So if we look at, how do I explain this? If we look at the period of Atlantis, I'm going back in history now in time. So, because Atlantis, fell a few times. But if we look at the period, let's say about 260,000 years of the Atlantis
period.
Yeah, Atlantis period. There, within that 260,000 years, there is an in-breath that God takes, which means that you are coming closer to source. Okay, because it's the in-breath. That in-breath takes approximately, in our time, or planet Earth's time, one in-breath of God, I'm just saying, is about 26,000 years.
We're on the exhale now.
So God breathes in, 26,000 years, closer to source, closer to the truth, closer to light. Breathes out, 26,000 years.
Yeah.
So we are on the out breath.
Yeah.
Of that 260,000 year period.
Yeah.
Which means that it's basically at the bottom. The out breath is at the bottom of the pit.
Yeah.
It's further away from source, if that makes sense. Because when you breathe out, you're moving away.
Yeah, it's the letting go and the dissolving and the toxicity releasing, and it's the purge. It's the purge. Yeah.
So, but this is it's a sacred influence in the sense of
course.
How do I put this? It's a sacred presence of God, whether you see God as a him or a her or a it doesn't matter. But the presence of that in and out breath, it's a sacredness of expansion. Okay, it's a sacredness of understanding. It's a sacredness of knowledge. It's a sacredness of experience, which leads you to the sacredness of wisdom. In all those sacred elements, your purpose is to become enlightened within this lifetime or over the periods of your lives, right? So, sorry, I've got so much going on. Let me just get my so much. So we were discussing the aspects of dense energy in terms of the actions, thought processes of those institutions, whether they are media institutions, governmental institutions, whatever institutions are within that frequency. We are at that period now. We're at the last period of the out breath. Now there's a resting. It's almost like a resting period. So it's the same as when you breathe. So you breathe in, 26,000 years, you rest. Breathe out, 26,000 years, you rest. So the last out breath has occurred, but now there's a resting period before the next, the new age, the beginning of the next age is starting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would say up to, where are we now? 2022. 2022. 7 years, 2022. I'm just picking up 7, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29. So I would say from 2029 to about up to 2033, I would say. You're going to see the aspects of that dissolving of. And then, of course, it's a new. Then the new. So you have to allow humanity to shift into that new essence of frequency, that new essence of energy, so they create a new paradigm. Does that make sense?
But it's so interesting, you know, speaking to such beautiful light workers and healers that are, you know, in this moment in time, moving through absolute awe of being alive at this time, you know, and understanding within the theory of oneness or the law of one that everything is perfect. Everything is in perfect divine mathematics at this point in time. That which is purging needs to purge, but also the other side of that is because there's so much light coming in from us or the light workers or Mother Earth purging, you know, that it's creating this polarity and therefore this balance. But it's really interesting because I got into this sort of one could call it an intellectual debate about, remember we said in about 2026 or something, it doesn't matter when, in the future there will be pathogens that begin to release from the earth that have been held by the earth. And this person was arguing with me saying, no, da. And I was like, well, you know, I don't need to be any scientist, geologist, geographer, nothing. It just makes perfect sense to me that if the earth is billions of years old, something is going to be released while she unfolds and the climate changes. It's just natural. Then his argument to it was going, you know, at that point in time, there's so much higher frequency coming into earth that it would abolish the frequency of that pathogen. And I was like, I don't know, because it's, I mean, at what stage is polarity on our earth experience still experience, and does it disappear on this in-breath, you know, this God's in-breath? Does that polarity of earth disappear, or is it just two frequencies still coexisting?
Yes.
Based on the fact that there are multiple timelines.
Okay. So, hang on, sorry, I just have to slow everything down because it's so fast. The aspects of that rest period at the end of the out breath is there to allow the presence of humanity with the influence of the higher frequency that's coming in, because the planet is ascending. Okay? So when the energy ascends, there's going to be pressure on humanity to change, right? However, there is still an aspect of free will. You cannot ignore that, because it is the presence of that free will is the presence of the beginning of time and space.
Yeah.
I know it's a very I know that it doesn't matter who agrees, who doesn't agree. This is what I know.
Yeah.
So the presence of free will has been there since the beginning of time and space. Not infinity. There's a huge difference.
Okay.
Not between the creator and the vessel.
Okay.
Because when there was a creator and a vessel, there was no option but just to absorb the light.
Yeah.
The frequency and be in the light. Okay. However, the vessel is said at some time, I want to create myself for myself to have that choice. Right? So the freedom of choice is still there. And humanity might take another 150 years for the majority of humans to choose the aspect of correction. Okay, when I say the aspect of correction, it means that you come into this plane on planet Earth yourself to correct the essence of your past lives. So not everybody's going to be in that frame of mind. For me, I think of it every day. I've worked off some of my past life karmas in the last 25 years. I know that. That's what I've been doing. Now, for me now, it's a moment in moments of
choice points.
Choice points every moment that you make. Every moment what are you creating? Because when you move on, you take nothing but what you have written in this time. So to come back to this individual's comment where he says, okay, when the frequency is high, yes, maybe in another 5,000 years.
Thank you.
Maybe in another 5,000 years, because then the aspect of a pathogen or a virus will not be able to withstand
that amount of light.
That amount of frequency. But we cannot say that now because everything is connected. So if you look at the history records on a spiritual scale, on a universal scale, on a galactical scale, on an intergalactical scale, this is, I mean, quite huge. The presence of coding is in each plant, animal, pathogen. So you cannot say that in 5 years, okay, you cannot say that in 5 years. What I'm saying is that the pathogen will be absorbed by the light.
Yes, it's too short of
That's what I'm saying.
Time in terms of the history and evolution of humankind.
You know, it's not going to happen in the next.
Lesson. Yeah,
because you have to still look at the presence of choice, because humanity or the presence of soul. Let me take out the word humanity, because before the presence of humanity in this form, in a dense form, came, you had the ancients, you had the history of ancient civilizations that hold certain keys within the universe. Okay, so what I'm saying is that you still have to work in that allocation, like when you're doing a mathematical equation or a formula, you have to work in I don't know what it's called, that presence of human choice. And until humanity, or the majority of humanity, comes to a greater understanding of their presence,
universal laws,
the universal laws. And that's why I say huge social media are not sharing those things like Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra, because that is knowledge about the self. And when you are informed about the self, you are powerful. You stand in your own power. So it's a very dynamic question, but I would disagree with that comment that he's made, that it will not happen just like that. Because you still have the presence of humanity choosing, and when humanity chooses to be in fear of, that is what will stand.
Also, the thing is, a lot of people, I made a comment yesterday about, basically a phone got stolen outside of our house, right? It was a bit negligent, and it's a guy that a guy in the street, one of the street guys that I give a lot to. I talk to him, we provide for him. And we asked this little psychic man that I met the other day, because he said, I can find phones and things. He's a healer, but he's 70 years old. His channel is quite open. And I said, listen, where's our phone? Like, has he popped it at the shop or whatever? He said, look, he's a good guy, but he literally couldn't help himself, right? He couldn't.
No, he sold the phone already. That's what I've picked up. It's not it's gone.
So
it's swapped 3 hands already.
Okay. So our thing was like, okay, well, we can go down to the store, etc., try get people to tell us if a phone gets handed in. But the likelihood of them doing that is not very high. And why? Is because they're in a fear space or fear frequency. And I think people need to also think about, like, fear doesn't always mean like, oh, terror, biting your nails. It's people have, I feel like a cognitive dissonance to what a fear decision is and a choice point, speaking to these things. It's like they're going to choose money rather than integrity. So in essence, if we just split the vibrations up into love and fear, they've chosen a fear space because they would rather use more money and da. And so again, coming back to when you say, when humanity starts to pinpoint what it is they are choosing, because a lot of people feel they are doing good. They're good citizens. They're doing the right thing and da. But yeah, so it's
also
a long way to go, because it's simple decisions like that don't they're not hugely impactful on one individual's person's life. But like our story of the phone, integrity was not chosen, and that's just a simple vibration that's entering into this sphere.
And the thing is that it's not just the choice, it's what you are creating.
Correct.
So in that choice that you are making, and this aspect, like you say, it's vast. So it could be, for example, let me just take an example. It could be how this reverberates from life to life. Let's just say, for example, you have a couple, okay? And they've both been in the Olympics for a certain sport. One gold medal. Okay. Now they have a child that comes in. They have a child. So let's say, for example, they're swimmers. And then they have this baby, and the baby grows up a little bit. But the baby just hates to go near water. And the parents can't understand, but we're swimmers. It's in our genes. This child must be able to become an Olympic swimmer now.
Yes.
But in the past life of this child went through, for example, in one of its past lives, was on a ship or a boat or something, and there was a huge storm, and this child drowned in the water.
Of course.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that, let's say you've lived 100 past lives. Okay? In each of those lives, something has happened. When you were in the womb, the family that you're born into, your experiences, and your actions upon those experiences. Those all create a record, a history, a record. A record. Then you die. You go into the next life. You are bringing the record of your past life or lives that you haven't corrected or haven't paid attention to, self-awareness, that's what I'm talking about. Now you're born into another womb because you are also affected by the energy that the mother carries. So now you have your past lives and the mother's energy, now your life experiences. So yeah, it's a very, that's why I say, you know, it's, there is obviously with the frequency of planet Earth and the universe, this galaxy that's ascending, because the vibration is not only on planet Earth, it's within the realms, is going to affect planet Earth. And I think people already will, light workers and empaths and people that are on the spiritual path, because they're in tune with that. And then, of course, your general public will feel that in the aspects of their karma coming to the fore, where it's saying, okay, now you have to, so it's not more 500 years that you have to wait. It's like it's like speeding up. So you have to correct that which you did not acknowledge or accept in the past. We are presenting it to you now in one situation, but there are 15 dynamics within the situation that deal with different aspects of the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, individual, through free choice to address those corrections.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at the planets, okay, just look at the condition of the planet, of what humans are responsible for that, and that's the first thing that they need to do, is take responsibility first for my life. I take responsibility for my life, my actions, my everything, and how I affect the world at large.
Do you call yourself a human?
Look, I'm human. Of course, I'm human.
Yes.
But I find it very difficult to relate.
Yeah.
I'm human, yes.
Yeah.
So for me, like I say,
because I feel like a lot of light workers at this time being quite disgraced at the human race, also understanding that they are here to be human, but also genetically from, earth seeds, star seeds, a cosmic conglomeration of DNA. Sometimes it would be easier to dissociate and say, you know what, I'm actually alien. I don't want anything to do with this place.
It's very easy to do.
Or I'm an angelic, or, I yes. don't even call myself human anymore. Even though
I don't.
You're integrating, right?
I don't. That's why I said to you, like, I think it was last week, that I can't relate to human. I can't relate to humans in the sense of that I don't feel like I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Because my time now spent in this lifetime was, for the last 25 years, was clearing my karma. For a lot of people in life, it's about getting an excellent job, buying a lovely house, buying Armani. There's different priorities. My priority is clearing my karma, and from now on to when I move on to my next mission is to master myself in this form. Because like I said, knowing is different than being. You have to bring what you know to the fore, but you have to look at yourself first, and present yourself first in those circumstances, in that information, in that knowledge, in that wisdom. And
it's really interesting you say that, because, as I've said in the last shows, it's like I'm moving through this transitionary space of changing my services because I'm moving through a change. My frequency is changing. My ceremonies are changing. And yesterday I spoke to this European girl who was like, what are your modalities? I mean, my modalities are my modalities, but what you receive from that is quite difficult to put into words. It's like, well, between yourself, myself, and your higher self, as well as your teams and my teams in the etheric realm, you will receive exactly what you need to. It's a bit of a shit marketing pitch because, you know,
that's the thing.
What am I going to receive out of this? And I'm like, exactly what you need to. How do I put a word to that? I can call it expansion. I can call it trauma release. I can call it, enlightenment. I can call it an ego death. You will receive exactly what you need. I hold the space. I'm just a channel.
It's very difficult. I mean, I'm busy with a friend of mine, Michelle, because I don't talk to a lot of people. I don't have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 friends. And Michelle is, she says to me, look, you're just like in a completely different level, because she's a strategist. So she says to me, okay, you've got to do a YouTube video explaining what you offer. And I'm just thinking, this is so difficult. I don't know where to start, because like you say, how do you explain? We know what we see, the presence of what lies behind the veil, different dimensions, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
And Michelle says to me, I mean, I don't know your world at all. And it's trying to now for me to come down like on a 3rd dimensional scale and try and explain.
So then from that perspective is people like us, feel out of integrity to label ourselves, and there potentially being a karmic string, like, butterfly effect of manipulation through false marketing that we know is not with bad intention that we're giving that marketing, but it's just so it's difficult. It's
very difficult. So I haven't even broached the thing, because I don't the aspect of myself is finding it difficult to
label yourself.
Yes, because for me, now I will tell Michelle, but Michelle, whoever comes to the retreats or whoever I come upon, it's
divine.
It's sacred and it's divine. I understand it. She said, you need to stand in front of that video and tell people. So it's a conflicting. We're coming from 2 different worlds, basically.
Yeah.
And I understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
But to present yourself, because for me there's no other way than authentic.
Yes, of course.
And I think whether it's you or me or together, whatever, we'll find a way. And whoever comes will be there, and whatever is meant to evolve or manifest will do so in a sacredness of divine timing, so that you are guided along this journey, and the presence of your soul is a healthy dynamic, not pushing you and not activating you so that you feel like you're going nuts. But it's very difficult to explain that to people or the general public who don't understand it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I was at a little dinner party, and I said to this guy, listen, he does a lot of like team building stuff, in the corporate world. He has done so for years. He's now done a bit of plant medicine, so he's awakened a little bit more, dropped his ego more. But still, I mean, I listen to this guy, and he's like, people are making puzzles and blindfolding each other and standing around in a train massaging each other, and these are fucking adults. And this person, bless his soul, he's an amazing man in a good frequency. I know he's doing good, but they get paid shitloads of money. And I'm like, I just said to him, I said, I want to go to one of your things, because I said, I actually want to do breath work for corporates for free. I'll do it for free. And once if you vibe with my frequency, you're welcome to give me a call and we can work personally together. You know, and he's like, no, well, we can do this. I said, I don't want to do that. It's not what I do, because they don't understand what I'm actually trying to teach. Unless I'm one-on-one, you know, in that capacity, I'm wasting my time. And he's like,
it's like,
and you guys are all healers, and I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah, it's like Michelle says to me, like, what are you trying to do? I said, we're creating new human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's my mission, is to create new human beings through being there to assist and guide in whatever way I can. Aspects of, you work through your karma, and you present yourself in every moment with the divine presence of truth and authenticity.
Yes.
You know, how do you sell that on a YouTube thing? I mean, it's just like, it's so, because she says to me, she says, okay, Justine, I'm going to use a third dimensional word, strategy, okay, because she knows me. She knows me. So anyway. Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, on that truth, authenticity, integrity, we leave you today. Thank you for joining us on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022, at 12 o'clock.
12, yeah, sure.
Yes, I've been very emotional through this. I don't know if you've seen me crying.
It's okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Justine.
Okay, my love.
Yeah,
love you lots. Love you lots.
Love you
always here, always been watching you.
I know. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Ciao, ciao.